Welcome. This is a quick tutorial on using SchemaDrift to check your database into a source control system. To start with, we'll take a look at a database. Here we have a database called customers, which contains tables, views, stored procedures, scalar functions, all kinds of fun stuff. And what we want to do is check that into a Git repository. The databases folder contains an empty directory called customers, where we're going to sync the database to. We open up SchemaDrift. We choose connect to connect to our SQL server, SQL 14. And we select the database that we want to use. Here I'm going to select customers. As our destination, we can choose to sync it to another database or instead sync it to a source control file system. Here I'm going to browse, look at my computer, go to the C drive in the databases folder, and choose the folder called customers. Now we just click the compare button. At this point, SchemaDrift goes out and compares what's currently located in that C database customers directory to what's on SQL Server in the customers database. Now that the sync is complete, we look and then we see there's nothing that's identical because the directory was empty. Nothing that's different. Different implies that it exists in both locations, but there's something different about the files. Here, only in source, we can see there's a lot of objects, and we can scroll through and take a look at some of these tables, schema, number of other things. And we can see that there's a handful of items that exist only in the source. Nothing only in the destination because the destination folder is empty. We then right-click, save all to the destination directory. Now we go and look with Windows Explorer, and we can see that for each database object, and let's take a look at a table. Here's a table called orders. We open up the file and we can see that we have the create script for that table. Now that all the files have been exported from the database, let's add them and commit them with Git using the git bash command line shell. We can see that there's one directory called customers, and I'll go ahead and add everything. And we can see we have a list of all of the files. I'll commit. And I will then push. And we can see at this point the database is up to date. Okay, now let's say that you've been doing some work on the database and you're ready to commit your next set of changes. We go back, do the same comparison, we hit the compare. We can then browse and see that, well, most of the things that are in the source control directory versus the database are the same. Here we're assuming that some changes have been made somewhere along the way. There's nothing different. But here we find an object, it's a function called squared that only exists in the source database. And there's nothing only in the destination. So what this tells us is that this is the one function that I've been working on, which it was. It's a new function that needs to be added to source control. Here I'm going to right click, add this function to the destination directory. It's been added. We go back to our Git shell. We take a look at Git status and we can see that that one new file has been added. I'll add that. And I will push. And that's all it takes to sync your SQL Server databases to any source control system. Thanks, and enjoy SchemaDrift.